Truth Media have created a blue chip ETF application and CRO is on it. That is the breaking news, CRO fam, and I'm here today to give you my opinion on what is going to happen. We're going to break this video into three parts. Number one, what the announcement was and what the portfolio is going to consist of. Number two, the potential short, medium and long-term price action for CRO. And finally, what I think of this news. So let's get straight into it with the breakdown of what has been included in this ETF. Bitcoin is clearly the biggest asset in the world and makes up 70% of this new blue chip portfolio. Ethereum is coming in with 15%, and then this is where the surprise is. We have Solana, yes. We have XRP, but also we have CRO. And the makeup may surprise you. Solana, 8% of the portfolio. Brilliant. XRP makes up 2%, which means CRO makes up 5% of this portfolio. For every $100 of this ETF, which will be purchased en masse, $5 of that will be going into CRO. This is massive news. Now, you know me, I don't like to big up coins. I don't like to overshoot things, but this is big. So that's the breakdown of the portfolio. Again, this has to go through a lot of applications with the SEC. There needs to be a lot more done before this goes live, but this is the start of it. This is the announcement of the application. Now, what's interesting about this, of course, is Bitcoin already has an ETF, so does Ethereum. But the Solana and XRP ETFs, they are on the horizon as well. Potentially September this year, maybe even sooner if Trump pushes them through. The one that doesn't yet have an ETF is, of course, Kronos and CRO. So that's been the biggest surprise. Secondly, having 5% compared to XRP's 2% might be a bit of a dig at Brad Garlinghouse. Remember, Brad was trying to change the Bitcoin strategic reserve into a crypto strategic reserve, and he kind of fell out of favor with Trump. Maybe this is a little bit of an elbow in the ribs of Brad Garlinghouse, but who cares? CRO is 5%. So that's the makeup of the ETF. Now let's move on to the price action. CRO didn't break above 10 cents and hold. It did break 10 cents, but at the minute, I think the markets are trying to digest just what this is. Why? Because many of the coins mentioned have much larger market caps. So it's not going to have a massive effect on Bitcoin. It's not going to have a massive effect on Ethereum, Solana, or XRP. But over time, it will have an effect on CRO. So what I expect to happen in the short term, without any further announcements, is I still expect us to stay between 9, 11 and 12 cents. 11.3 cents, I think, is a point of resistance on the charts. But that doesn't matter. The short-term price action is now irrelevant. What I think is going to happen if there is an announcement, then I think CRO is certainly going to break above 12 cents, head towards maybe 14 or 15 cents, with additional news from Chris and the team at crypto.com. So don't expect a $1 CRO in August. It's not going to happen. But what you should be doing is thinking about the long-term impact of CRO being part of this ETF. We have 3.5 years left of the Trump administration. 3.5 years for Trump to pump his bags and in turn pump yours. So what do I think about all of this? We knew it was coming. Why? Because Chris and Crypto.com were one of the biggest donors to the Republican Party during the election back in November. So we knew promises made, promises kept, wasn't just to the American people, it was to the donors as well. So we knew Crypto.com was going to get involved. We then heard that Crypto.com was going to be used for custody of all of the Truth Media ETFs. So that was the first step. This is the second step. Believe you me, if Chris and Crypto.com hadn't given money to the Trump campaign, we would not be seeing 5% of this allocation in CRO. This is a return of the favor. But again, I go back to the point, we don't care. Every altcoin out there, whether it be SUI, whether it be TON, whether it be SEI, whether it be AVAX, they would all snap your hand off to be included in this ETF. And they're not. It's CRO. It's validation, number one. It puts CRO on the map, number two. And it gives us a long-term target. It gives us a long-term goal for how CRO may start to appreciate in value. Yes, they printed 70 billion tokens. Yes, the price action has been suppressed, but so has the price action of every other altcoin. If you haven't noticed, Bitcoin dominance is at 66%. 2/3 of crypto is in Bitcoin, so don't expect a $2 CRO or a $2,000 SOL anytime soon. These things take time, and Bitcoin dominance has to break down. So it's validation. It's a favor returned from Trump to Chris. But long term, this is going to have more of an effect on CRO than it's going to have on the likes of Solana and Ethereum and Bitcoin, because CRO has a $2 or $3 billion market cap. Bitcoin has a $2 trillion market cap. So that's why there's going to be a difference. 5% of this portfolio is potentially, if we're looking at a $1 billion portfolio, which is pretty small, that's a $50 million bag of CRO taken off the table. That's 500 million CRO right now. Now, of course, we don't know where it's going to go to. Potentially, it's going to go to 5, 10 billion over time. Again, that's no longer a 50 million bag. That's a $500 million bag of CRO. And that's where things start to get exciting. Now, we know ETF holders have diamond hands. Look at BlackRock, VanEck, ARK Invest. They do a considerable amount of more buying than they do selling. So diamond hands are coming to the table, and they're going to be scooping up CRO with this deal. And again, this is 6 to 12 months out, and it's probably 18 to 24 months out from having any real price action on CRO. But that should not detract from what's just happened. What's just happened is monumental for CRO. It's okay, we talk on here. Chronos Pulse is all about the chain. It's all about the projects on the chain. But if you don't bring eyes to Chronos, if you don't have somebody putting Chronos in front of people, it's never going to work. We need eyes on Chronos, and this is exactly what we need. Now, what would be great is an additional application for an ETF for Chronos. We've heard the murmurings about BNB. Chronos is mentioned in those same conversations. So let's see it. Let's see another Chronos ETF, maybe a standalone ETF. So that's it. Great news, CRO fam. Remember, hodl your bags. I think we're looking at a good summer for CRO. I think this is going to keep us up. I think this is a reason why we won't go down. And of course, alts will pump this bull run. Maybe not to the extent that they pumped in previous bull runs, but they will pump. So thank you for watching to the end of this video. Great news for Chronos. Great news for CRO fam. Great news for Chris and Crypto.com. You have been great. I've been Mike. Adios.